With only 1 week to go until the UK's general election, manifestos have been written, promises have been made, and millions of us are preparing to put a cross on ballot papers up and down the country. We've been engaging with all the major political parties to urge them to adopt pro-civil liberties policies in their manifestos, and we're tracking their policy commitments too. From CBDCs to facial recognition and censorship, where do the main parties stand on surveillance, free speech and privacy? A quick disclaimer, Big Brother Watch's commitment as a strictly non-partisan campaign group means we work with politicians of all political parties and none. Number 5, protecting against facial recognition. The Conservative Party has pledged to equip police with facial recognition technology. In their manifesto, they say they want to give officers new powers and tools to catch criminals, including technology like facial recognition.
We're going to be investing heavily in facial recognition technology. So we've been trialling this in Croydon, the borough that I represent in Parliament, and this technology can now identify wanted criminals who haven't previously been caught. It can identify them walking down the street.
By putting these cameras on our high streets, we're all being treated like suspects in a digital police lineup, with our photos taken for repeated identity checks, often without us even realising it. No other democracy in the world is using live facial recognition cameras in this draconian way. We have to stop this before it's too late.
It's completely unacceptable. It's a complete infringement of all of our privacies and our freedoms. This data is wildly inaccurate, and as we know, it disproportionately affects women and people from ethnic minorities. And the Met Police know this, and they are still using it. It's absolutely vital, while there's no primary legislation on this, that the Met Police ban the use of it and stop it immediately.
Fortunately, other parties have promised to put a stop to live facial recognition, including the Green Party, Liberal Democrats and Plaid Cymru. The Labour and Reform Party stances still remain unclear. Number 4, no bank spying. Earlier this year, we found that the government was sneaking in new powers to spy on all of our bank accounts on the premise of dealing with welfare fraud and error.
And this is worrying. There is an amendment coming into government legislation that would allow the DWP to access bank statements, bank accounts, which after all aren't just financial transactions. They also say where you've travelled to and many other things that you've done, that would allow them to access it for anybody in receipt of DWP money, and that will of course include every pensioner in the country.
Thanks to everyone who supported our campaign by signing our petition and writing to their MPs, we defeated the government's plans. But the proposals could still come back. The party's manifestos and previous statements show that the Green Party, the Liberal Democrats, Reform, the SNP and Plaid Cymru have all been firmly against these intrusive plans. As for Labour and the Conservatives, while Labour were critical of the government's proposals,
there has to be a pause pressed here, I would say. This has big implications, I think, in terms of the reach of the state into people's lives, and normally I'm prepared to accept things where they're justified, but this, when it comes to benefits, I think is very worrying indeed.
They have not confirmed whether they would junk them for good. And the Conservative manifesto looks like they would bring them back. Another huge concern for us at Big Brother Watch is the introduction of a privacy-eroding CBDC. A digital pound could come at a major cost to our privacy, financial freedom and equality, and could usher in a huge new era of financial surveillance.
Today, I'm proud to say that under the UK's presidency, the group of the world's 7 most advanced economies, the G7, is launching a set of public policy principles for retail central bank digital currencies, CBDCs.
Despite the risks, every party, apart from the Reform Party, has been silent about a CBDC. In their manifesto, Reform say they will oppose the creation of a central bank digital currency, and they will legislate, if necessary, to stop Britain becoming a cashless society. There is a push for a CBDC from certain quarters in the UK, and the major political parties will have to get their act together on this issue very soon. Number 3, no censorship. Our Ministry of Truth investigation revealed that secretive UK government disinformation units have been spying on political dissent and suppressing free speech online. That's why we're calling for an urgent inquiry into the government's counter-disinformation activities. Outgoing Green Party MP Caroline Lucas led calls for an inquiry after she was flagged by these units for criticising government ministers and policy during the COVID period. Lucas said on record, the CDU is clearly not fit for purpose and a full investigation must be opened immediately. Reform Chairman Richard Tice has previously spoken out against these bodies too, saying it's appalling and terrifying, what you expect in North Korea, not Whitehall. Meanwhile, some of the parties are turning their back on free speech and advocating for stricter online censorship under the banner of safety. We will be watching them very closely. Number 2, digital ID. Big Brother Watch stands strongly against the slow drift towards mandatory digital ID. Digital IDs can be misused for mass surveillance, curb people's liberties, predict and shape people's decisions, and be abused for tracking, targeting, or other differential treatment of religious and other marginalised groups. Despite no mentions in any manifestos of digital ID, both Liberal Democrats and Reform have previously opposed either ID cards or proposals for mandatory digital ID. Following Sir Tony Blair and Lord Haig's revival of the mandatory ID card debate, Nigel Farage spoke out against the proposals.
I don't want to live in a country where we have the modern day equivalent walking down the street of a policeman asking us for our papers. I don't want to live like that. We should be innocent. That should be the assumption. Innocent until proven guilty.
In the last Parliament, the Lib Dems also attempted to legislate to ensure a legal right to alternatives to digital ID.
It's really important that an individual can choose whether to use digital or non-digital means of verifying their identity. It's important for the liberty and equality of individuals, but also to cultivate trust.
Number 1, privacy for all. In an age where employees are monitored by their bosses more than ever, whether it's Amazon drivers being surveilled by AI cameras or nosy bosses logging their workers' keystrokes, we're watching the watchers. But who will guard against employer spying? There's been little mention of this in parties' manifestos. However, Labour recently committed to push back against workplace surveillance and promote best practice in safeguarding against the invasion of privacy through surveillance technology, spyware, and discriminatory algorithmic decision-making. Data protection is fundamental to our privacy. In recent years, attempts to water down these rights have been brought forward by successive governments. The Green Party, Liberal Democrats and SNP have all shown outright opposition in attempts to water down our data protection standards.
Without the law, we are all very vulnerable indeed. And until we had the Human Rights Act, for example, there was no actionable right to free speech in this country, believe it or not. There was a lot of speech and dissent, but the legal protection of your free speech was not there in British law until the Human Rights Act of 1998.
Protecting the Human Rights Act 1998 is vital for protecting our privacy. Article 8 of the Act protects our right to privacy, including our private life, family life, home and communications. Article 10 protects our freedom of expression, our ability to hold truth to power and express political opinions without interference.
Nigel Farage, who is involved with Reform,
he's the Honourable President, that's right,
has talked today about needing a referendum on the ECHR. Is that going to be a policy of yours?
Oh, actually, I mean, our policy is that we should leave the ECHR.
Tearing up these rights, as has and is being proposed by the Conservative Party and Reform, would be a backward step for privacy in our country, leaving us with weaker protections to challenge authoritarian rules, no matter what political party is elected into power. This legal framework provides crucial protections for citizens against state overreach. We must protect it in order to protect our freedoms. While we still don't know who'll be walking into number 10 Downing Street next week, one thing we do know is that whoever that party and person is, they must do more to protect our civil liberties in this time of enormous technological change. No matter who is elected on the 4th of July, we will be holding them to account at every turn, and we need you to have our back. Can we count on you to become a monthly Big Brother Watch supporter to help us fight for a free future? Please find the link to join us in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe to our channel.